the next point, number 6, is goal-reaching skills. Now, goal-reaching skills sound like this. By September 15th, 2016, such and such and such happens. Whatever that might be. So if that's this imaginary guy who's looking for results in a project, so he would say by day month 2016, and then he would describe in one short sentence what is accomplished. Bob and the team and I finish our report for IBM. Maybe it's something like that. Now, if it's a personal goal, then it's, and again, the date is up to you, by Thanksgiving 2016, my son, and then whatever it is. Or by October 23rd, 2016, my son promises he will come to Thanksgiving dinner. So you see how everything in life has a series of goals that you can set, that you can accomplish, so that you reach the bigger milestones that you're looking for. And goal reaching is huge because intention is everything, and unless you're very clear about what you want, and when I say very clear, I mean by day, month, and year, exactly what you want to accomplish, exactly what you want to have happen, you will find that you are not as successful as other people who have these skills. The skills make a huge difference.
Very important. Would you please help us and teach us some of the basics of these goal reaching so that we really can use these in practice?
Yeah. So let's just imagine it's something, really complicated. You want to get a job. So you want to get a job, you don't have a job you like. So your goal would be, even though you have a lot of things you have to do, there's a lot of work, but still to focus yourself on the result, you would say by October 1st, 2016, I am employed and earning whatever the dollar amount is, gross, per year. So that's the way to do it. If you're young and you've got an hourly rate, is by September 15th, 2016, I am earning, and then whatever the dollar amount is per hour. So this is really an amazing opportunity for you to get absolutely focused on what you want. It could be about enlightenment. It could be about joy. It could be about bliss. It could be about anything. It's up to you and the divine. You just have to learn the skills, and then you have to ask for it in a positive, focused way with 100% intention.
I like that. Now, I know we have a wonderful clip to go into. Would you care to tell us a bit about it?
Yes, this is one of your favorite topics.
Uh-oh.
So, and I think it's one of your favorite topics too, those of you watching at home. It is about how to enhance your success with gratitude. And that's really about having a positive approach to what you want instead of being in that complaining mentality, which is always a disaster. So we hope you enjoy it. Well, if you express gratitude to people, they're going to feel that their need for appreciation is met. They're going to realize that they're making a difference. They are going to be motivated. If they're happy people, healthy people themselves, they're going to be motivated to do more for you, right? Well, flip that to the other side and see what happens. So if you stop appreciating people, if you stop expressing gratitude to them for meeting your needs, naturally, little by little by little by little, you're going to be ending up alone. Nobody's going to be around you, and it's going to be a mess.
Boy, isn't that the truth? Okay, good reality check.
Yeah, and it's incredible how fast it can then turn back into the positive direction when people start finding a way to make themselves feel happy, feeling happy, expressing gratitude for whatever need is met, and more good things start to come.
I love that. Sometimes I have to just take a time out, get a hold of myself, and then go forward with that attitude of gratitude.
Yeah, because you can get your needs met from any one of 1 million or 8 million people.
So there are all sorts of ways to get your needs met. But if you're, not happy, not peaceful, well, not you because you're always happy and peaceful, but them, if you're not happy and peaceful, if you're not really enthusiastic about the environment you're in, then you need to get out of it because nothing wonderful is likely to show up.
Thank you, Susan. Now, I'm curious, why is it that some people express gratitude even if they hear that it's important for them to do it? Why can't they do this? That's the question.
Yeah. Well, if you're really miserable and you don't have training to bring yourself back to peace, you don't have mental discipline because you haven't been trained to have it, so then you let your mind be like a runaway horse. And now that I'm explaining to you, and if you and I were talking and having a 1-hour free consultation, I would ask for situations in your life that you've been putting up with and trying to change, and you would talk about how they were getting worse and worse if you hadn't been trained to really talk about your needs and your goals. So if you talk about your needs and your goals, things are getting better. If you're talking about all the things that aren't working out, things are getting worse. Yes, right? I'm not psychic, but I know this.
Thank you, Susan. Sometimes we really need to pay attention, I know, to which direction we're going in our conversation.
Yeah,
or
absolutely.
our thoughts, yeah. Boy. Okay, well, how about this? What does an expression of gratitude sound like? I mean, perhaps you can teach our viewers some of the basics, like could you show us perhaps how to show gratitude to a child?
Yeah, sure. I mean, a lot of parents attempt to train their kids or teach their kids to do things, and they don't understand how to train them, and they often make demands, and they're harsh, and they're critical and all that. And the easiest way is to make a simple request, would you be willing to help me clear the table? And then this small child, maybe a 6, 7-year-old child, is taking things that are not breakable. 4, 5, 6-year-old child can carry the silverware as long as they're not sharp knives, and carry napkins and carry placemats and that kind of stuff. And then when you get in the kitchen, you say, Bobby, thank you. I really appreciate it. It saves me a lot of time, and I really appreciate you doing that with me. Thanks, honey. Easy. Easy.
That just sounds like something that the child would be so encouraged. They'd want to cooperate and help out to
yeah,
get
look
that.
at me, I'm a big boy, kind of stuff
Yeah.
for a very small child. Yeah, whatever they're helping with, you're starting the process of training them that when they walk away from the table, they're going to carry something into the kitchen for you. If you don't have, anyone helping you, if you don't have any servants, then somebody's got to do it. Might as well be everyone in the family.
We hope you enjoyed that.
That was wonderful.
And you're welcome.
I enjoyed it.
And thank you. And thank you so much. And thank
There
you,
we go.
Fred.
Gratitude.
So much.
That sounds done. Okay, well, now I understand that the key number 7 is something that we really have to work at, and that it's possibly the most complicated of all the keys. Please explain this one to us.
Ah, yes. Number 7 is patience. Now, this is a dance. Patience is a dance. You can't be one of those people who's let go so much that you're no longer focused and you no longer have intention. Because I don't see results with that. I don't see positive results. I see people who haven't been able to accomplish what they wanted to accomplish, and God hasn't jumped in and helped them either. I just see people in trouble. They aren't focused. Very right-brain people, you're going to see a lot of that. At the same time, you can't be so forced and so focused and impatient, because when you're impatient, that's what I call crimping the straw. So if everything that happens for us is the divine just flowing through us, and the energy, and everything's energy, as Howard Will says so rightly, so correctly, then if you become impatient, now you are getting yourself very tense. Maybe you're angry, you're frustrated, you're irritated, you're worried, all of that impatience is the opposite of what you need to do energetically to produce results. So this is tricky because there's a sweet spot in the middle. You can't be so patient and you can't be impatient. So just be very careful with that one.
Okay, that's a healthy issue if you look at it that way as well. Now, what happens if we really lose patience, and why is that really so dangerous? And what is the tool that you would recommend for us to be able to stay patient?
Well, when you become impatient, self-empathy is the very best skill that you can adopt. I feel frustrated because I need cooperation. Breathe. I feel irritated because I need support. Breathe. I feel annoyed because I need results. Breathe. And if you've done this for a while, 3 of these rounds of self-empathy, you're going to begin to figure out that you're the one that wasn't able to get your needs met because you're the one who wasn't able to motivate those other people to meet your needs. So it's still all down to you. It's all down to us. And that's the key. If you practice self-empathy and you really master it, you're going to figure out you're the one who's letting yourself have these unpleasant feelings because you don't have enough skills to meet the need for this, 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 and this. Just as when you do the 4 questions of inquiry, in a short period of time, it should be a couple of weeks, you get so good at this that you realize these are just the same old stories. You come up with these same old stories year after year. The truth is that you can turn the story around to a better feeling story that's more true, and you will not be suffering anymore. So that is the whole message. The keys to the kingdom allow you to understand your life on earth and make it into a wonderful and joyous experience. Every day, every minute of every day.
Beautiful. And that's what we all are after. Now, I know the 8th key you said is your favorite, and so I'm curious why that is, and please explain why this is so important.
Determination. You know, the reason it's my favorite is that I did not enjoy great health for a long time. So with number 9, determination, and the great health that I am now enjoying thanks to Howard Wills, I'm telling you that there's nothing more fun for me than I have an assignment and I do it and I get the results. Or I have a client who has a problem and I do the work with them and they get results. So it's determination. It's that focusing on something, not ever giving up until you reach the goal, that is essential. It's absolutely essential if you're someone like me who has really big goals. You're not going to find the results that you desire unless you develop this ability to really, really focus on your goals and do it with determination. And you'll enjoy it. Because when you say you want something and then in a short period of time, or even in a longer period of time, you've got it, it's happened, what could be more exciting? Right?
That's a big one. Determined. I am determined for various things. Now, this 9th key incorporates all the others, doesn't it?
It does. It does. Okay. So key number 9 is personal evolution. And personal evolution is another way of saying lifelong learning. Now, some of the lifelong learning has to be you in direct connection with the divine. Some of lifelong learning is you in connection with me and other teachers and trainers who've gone before you. It has to be a combination. Many of us who spent a lot of time and a lot of money learning from the Enlightened Masters felt really annoyed that we couldn't figure it out for ourselves, but let me tell you, that is a big difference between being very young and being far more successful, because you do not have time to figure it out for yourself, no matter how young you are. It's just not a wise way of allocating the resource called time. So you want to learn from me and others as much as you possibly can for as long as you can. You want to be intelligent enough to look at your life and look at what isn't working and what you want to transform, and then figure out who you're going to work with to transform that. When you do that, then you can do what I say, which is, I don't have any problems because I know how to solve all of them. That doesn't mean every problem I'm ever going to have for the rest of my life I've already had. I mean, who knows? There are things that happen as we get older for most people, and it's not always fun. And I have the solutions because I've got the people with the solutions. That's your key.
Nicely put. Absolutely. Now, I know that before you even leave your house, I understand that you really have one additional practice for peace, for protection, and for connection with the divine. And you've done this for decades. Could you share this with us?
Yes, I always say prayers before I leave. And I do this every single time I leave. And there was a time in, I guess it was the 1970s, when I used to do a particular Sanskrit prayer 3 times before I would leave the house. It was the Mahalakshmi Stotram. If you know me, you know that. If you know me well. So I would do the Mahalakshmi Stotram 3 repetitions because that's supposed to be the most powerful to manifest what you desire. And I remember this one day, I had made a commitment to do this 3 times a day, and I was just in a hurry and I didn't. And I got on the 57th Street crosstown bus in New York, and the bus stopped short, and I flew through the air. It is only a miracle that I didn't break something, because I wasn't holding on, because it's a 57th Street crosstown bus, no big deal, and boom. So I'll tell you something, that got me back to doing that prayer for many, many years. And now I don't kid around. I don't do the prayer, 3 times, and I don't do that every day, but I do say prayers, and I ask the divine for protection and support and all that. And I'm very, very specific of thanking. I thank the Enlightened Masters and gurus and teachers and trainers and family and friends. And that is every day before I leave my house, like clockwork.
I've witnessed that. Yes, it's beautiful. And then finally, I know before you drive away in your car, you do another practice, and that you've done that for more than 20 years as well. Could you describe this?
Yeah, and there's, I should say first, because I see we have some time, when I wake up every single morning, I do Howard Wills's prayers. So every single morning, I do 5 repetitions of the prayers on page 1 of his concise prayer program. And you do it from left to right. So you do the prayer on the top left, then the prayer on the top right, then the prayer on the middle left, and the prayer on the middle right, then the prayer on the bottom left, and the prayer on the bottom right. That's how Howard teaches it. And then I do the prayer of bounty, which is one of the prayers on the second page. And again, 5 repetitions of each. Praying for myself, praying for my family, friends, the planet Earth, all humanity, all my relatives, that everybody, and nature. So praying for all of the above is basically what it is. And I do that, as I said, every single day when I wake up, and I do it before I start to work with my clients. And then, Gigi, because you asked me, what's the final thing I do? When I get into my car, I Reiki my car, I Reiki myself, I Reiki anybody who's in the car. Gigi's been in the car. Many of you have been at some point in my car. And then I Reiki my home before I leave it. So this is a concise program that I've been doing for a long, long time. And when I used to travel, I used to be around the world for half of the year. And I would Reiki my pets and see them surrounded by white light, and nothing ever happened to them. And I would Reiki my apartment when I lived in New York, and nothing ever happened to it. And, that's pretty good, living in New York and being, leaving my pets to somebody else's care, and no bad things ever happened. So I would really recommend it.
That's very powerful. Now, I know that since we do have a little bit more time, I know that our viewers would, and I would, love to know about your experiences with Jesus and with the angel. Would you be willing to tell this story? And I know that this has to do with the inner kingdom as well.
But you've got to keep your eye on the clock.
Okay,
So that's your job, okay?
perfect.
So in the 1980s, when I still had so much physical suffering, and it was so difficult for me. You know, it was just, you wake up in the morning and you can't really breathe, and then you go through the whole day and you can't really breathe. And if you take medication in those days, you feel like you're, speeded up on, crystal meth. I assume I haven't taken crystal meth, but I took enough asthma medication that people told me was just like that. And so it was lousy. It was really a rotten time in my life. So I was praying and praying. If you think I pray a lot now, imagine how I was praying then when I couldn't breathe. And suddenly I saw Jesus walking towards me. I was at Guru Mai's center in upstate New York, and she was on the stage, and suddenly Jesus was there and was walking towards me, towards the edge of the stage, and I was filled with bliss. It was extraordinary. And what was even more extraordinary was that year, from that point on, for about 2 years, my breathing was almost completely normal, even in the winter in New York, which is very hard to accomplish. Because normally when it was cold out, then the breathing issues were even more severe. So that was just an amazing thing. And of course, you have this kind of thing happen and you think, oh, it's going to happen all the time, right? At least I do. So I think a year went by, and actually a couple of years went by. And in 1991, I was in India for the Lakshmi celebration in October. And again, I was sitting outside, and I was praying and praying and praying and praying that I would be perfectly healthy and that I would be blessed and that good things would happen and I could make a bigger difference with everybody. And again, this time I saw Jesus walking towards me. And he walked towards me, and he walked and walked and walked, and then veered off down the aisle. We were all sitting outside, and I saw him from the front, and I saw him turn, and I saw him from the back. And it was amazing, just amazing. And it was just an unbelievable experience. It was incredible. And that year was the year that I lived in California for the first time. So it was really, really thrilling. And the angel happened in 1991 again. It was on Easter Sunday. And I was doing this Mahalakshmi Stotram that I did 3 times a day, every day before I left my house. So it was Easter Sunday. I had just watched The Last Temptation of Christ with Willem Dafoe, which is a very strange movie, very, very strange. And so I woke up the next morning and I'm doing the chant, and suddenly I hear this angel chanting in this perfect, pure, clear voice. And I have a nice voice, but it's nothing compared to this voice. This voice was extraordinary. This voice was like the most exquisite countertenor that you ever heard on the stage of the Metropolitan Opera or would ever hear. And it was breathtaking. And the angel sang the 3 repetitions of the chant with me perfectly. And it put me into such a state of bliss that I just couldn't even believe it. It was extraordinary. And these 3 experiences are among some of the most experiences that I'll never forget in my life because they changed me forever. That's the thing about when you deeply connect with the divine, it changes you once and for all. I mean, you just never feel the same.
And you're in gratitude forever experiencing
And
that.
even more important, it eliminates the fear of death.
That's huge.
And it eliminates the fear of anything else. Because if you're not afraid of death, what are you afraid of, right? I mean, there's nothing to be afraid of. And so having had a near-death experience, having had a number of out-of-body experiences, having had Jesus appear to me twice, having had an angel sing to me, It's amazing that I wasted decades being frightened. It's crazy. But what happens is you forget. You know, the beauty of speaking about these experiences with you, Gigi, and with all of you, is that not only are you hearing this and feeling inspired, I hope, it also inspires me and reminds me there is nothing to fear. We are connected to the divine. We are part of the divine. And so let me tell everybody what happened about the fire yesterday.
Oh, yes.
Since we have some time. So we're in Santa Barbara. There's been a ferocious fire north of us at Lake Nacimiento. And that was frightening enough. We couldn't see it from here, but we'd see it on the news. That was really frightening. And then a couple of days ago, the most terrifying thing of all, there is a forest fire east of Santa Barbara, just over the ridge of the hill. And while it's over the ridge of the hill and you see like a mushroom cloud, but your own sky is blue, you can function, right? But then yesterday, sometime in the early afternoon, our sky became thick with gray smoke. The wind had changed. We could see the red reflection of the fire over part of the clouds. But the entire sky, from where Gigi lives, which is south of me, to where my friend Diane lives, which is way up near the Hotel Bacara, so that's like all of Santa Barbara, basically, was gray with thick, thick smoke and ash. You couldn't breathe, and it was terrifying. It looked like end of days. So I asked Howard Wills, please, Howard, pray and ask the divine, and please clear our air. This is so frightening. And I sent him a few texts. And then I woke up this morning, and the sky was blue. So last night when it became dark, it was so thick and so frightening. Everybody had all their windows closed. And, you know, you can't do that forever. It's too hot. And when I woke up this morning, blue sky. So to me, because now we're talking about life-threatening issues, that is the greatest miracle of all. And if you look outside, I took a bunch of photos. I took photos in Goleta. I took photos in Upper State where I live, and photos down here. It's almost completely normal. So that is what's possible when you develop all these skills, you develop all these connections, you can motivate and inspire people, you can have a completely different life.
That's a great current example, absolutely.
And now we're out of time.
Perfect. Well, thank you, Susan, so much for really teaching us these 9 keys to the kingdom and reminding us that you really can have that most wonderful, joyful, peaceful life, and how this can make a difference for all of us and for each other. It's really important. I really appreciate having you with us. Thank you.
Thank you. We're not just mimicking the gratitude.
No, that's
but thank
from
you.
the heart.
I love being here. It's a joy. Thank you.
And I'd just like to remind everybody that Susan Allan's column as the Love and Relationship Coach is in our Santa Barbara Family Life magazine, and this is available online as well, www.sbfamilylife.com, and Susan's website, Heartspace, www, of course, .heartspacesolutions.com, and Susan at susanallen.org. And for that free, wonderful gift of 1 hour, that's 805-695-8405. Susan's YouTube is youtube.com/SusanAllen2001. I'm glad I got all those contacts out.
Thank you.